Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkard's Walk. We want to say a big thank you to Jesse L.E. for our theme music and Nick Jaramillo for our artwork. Also a big thank you to our guest today, Lane Shadgett. And a thank you to you for listening. A thank you to all of you who voted for us in the Pittsburgh Magazine Best of the Burg poll for 2023. We were up for Best Podcast. We don't know what the results of that are yet, but once we find out, we will let you know. We do hope that you do keep listening. If you have a topic suggestion for us, head on over to our link tree. That's linktr.ee/drunkardswalk. You can find the way to give us suggestions there. You can get to our merch as well. You want to get a t-shirt, you could do that. You can email us. You can find everything you need, essentially, to fulfill all of your Drunkard's Walk dreams, which we hope you have every single night. We're excited to keep on doing this, and we hope you're excited to keep on listening. So enjoy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drunkard's Walk, the podcast. My name is Matt Hartman. I'm one of the hosts of Drunkard's Walk. And if you've never listened to us before, hello. It is wonderful to meet you. If you have listened to us before, hi. It's the same. I'm the same guy who's been here the whole time, from the very beginning, all the way back in 2020 when this all started. 7, 8. This is the 8th season, so 7 in a couple episode seasons ago. I'm just excited to be here. I'm always excited to be here because I like what we do. We do this kind of walk through Wikipedia thing, but I can't tell you all about it. Because the person who should tell you all about it is the guy who came up with the name of this podcast. It's none other than my co-host, Jethro Nolan. How's it going, Jethro?
It's going grand, Matt. And I appreciate you giving me credit for the one bit of work I did related to the production of this podcast, just coming up with the name and absolutely nothing else. So yeah. We do a Drunkard's Walk here. So we try to get from one random location to another random location in Wikipedia through the most efficient path possible. And along the way, we discover extremely interesting facts. There's some battles of will. There's there's some feuds and some cussing and some fighting and some feuding. Yeah. And but eventually some reconciliation. And we find peace either between ourselves or just internally, and find a way to move on.
Yeah, we will someday find that. I today decided to check out this new AI, this Chat GPT. Are you familiar with this, Jethro?
It's all the rage.
It is. It's all the rage. So I asked it to write an intro to a episode of the Drunkard's Walk podcast.
And what did it have to say?
Well, it doesn't know what we are, apparently, because it wrote an intro all about a podcast about chaos theory. And we were going to have a very special guest, Dr. Jane Smith from the California Institute of Technology. It was a very strange introduction. I did not save it, but it had nothing to do with our podcast. So clearly, whatever information is being fed into the AI, we are not included in it.
I think that Chat GPT stops in 2021 as far as when the incoming info is.
But again, we started the podcast in 2020, so
I know, but we didn't really get out there and get an audience until later. And also, I will say that we tend to be more geared towards a human audience and less geared towards a robot audience. So
I guess, I've never really spoken to the robot audience, and maybe I should. Maybe we should take this moment to speak directly to the AI that will eventually rule our lives and let it know that, I don't know, what do you say to a robot?
Is that a Zen cone? What do you say to a robot? What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Exactly.
I don't know that's an answerable question. Why would you even want to say anything to a robot? They're not human. They don't have money. They can't become Patreon subscribers.
Oh, that's true.
So they can't laugh. They can't love. They can't understand us.
So why cater to them?
But it's why do you want to talk to your toaster? No, it's an appliance. They're not sentient moral agents. We don't need to feel. Just because they can do a party trick and mimic language, we don't need to feel as though they are agents that are worthy of our moral concern. We've got our hands full caring about the people on the world. We don't need to worry about robots.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that don't even do that. So
yeah, I know.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's well put. It's well put, Jethro. But one of the things that I think about a lot is the fact that, like, we do this walk through Wikipedia, right? And we start wherever we ended the week before. But I always think about, like, where are we going? And I think about that from an existential point of view, but I also think about that from a very practical point of view in the podcast. Where are we going? Jethro, where are we going?
Man, I don't know. I got no clue.
Yeah.
That's a bigger question than I can. We should have asked Chat GPT while we had a chance, but
shoulda, but didn't. So instead, I think we should ask the guest that we brought on, because that's what we do. We bring on a guest, and tonight or today, depending on when you're listening to this, we have none other than Mr. Lane Shadgett. Lane, how's it going, man?
It is nice to talk to you both.
Yay.
And it's wonderful to listen to you. Welcome on to the Drunkards Walk podcast. You are famous here on the Drunkards Walk podcast because we've already the listener already knows who you are.
I know. This was your podcast is the only podcast that has ever assaulted me.
Whoa. I don't know if I go quite that far. First of all, you have to blame our guests.
Innocently walking the dog one day, I thought, listen to this comedy podcast, and I'm sure it won't bring up anything painful or difficult from my past.
Yeah. And unfortunately we did, because last season we had on a mutual friend of ours named Brad Barnhorst, and he decided, because it was our Halloween episode, to give us a suggestion of a horror film called Perkins 14, of which you were the screenwriter. And hey, listen, I know you don't love that film. I get it, but good for you for writing a film that was then made. I mean, there's a very select group of people in the world that can say that,
It was exciting to get to work on it. I was very excited when it came out. I was excited to have the opportunity. I was less excited to see it. No, seriously, everybody who worked on the movie was trying really hard, and it's really hard to make a good movie. And sometimes the thing that goes wrong is just different people on the movie think they're making different kinds of movies. And that is what there was an unusual number of people thinking they were making an unusual number of different kinds of movies.
That is a fantastically political way of saying that. So well done. So we got to talk a little bit about. So Lane and I met each other way back in the late 1980s, I believe, in third grade. We didn't really know each other very well, but we met through this like science program that we were in school, right? Through Catalyst. That was the first time we met, I think. Yeah,
that's right. Where we would all leave school and go try to grow pretend plants on the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Or make a rock, sedimentary rock out of plaster Paris. It was a fantastic experience where we didn't have to go to class. But we really got to know each other in high school, I would say, right? Wouldn't you say?
That's definitely right. More that's when I started talking to people generally.
Yeah, you get to know everybody in high school. But yeah, so Lane and I have known each other for a long time. We've been in theater productions together. We did some musicals. I think Fiddler on the Roof and Annie and Singing in the Rain. I think that's it. I think those are the only three that we were in together.
That's a good list. Don't sell it short.
No, not at all. In fact, Lane, Jethro, I don't know if you know this or not. Lane was the lead in Singing in the Rain. He played the Gene Kelly role, the Don Lockwood part. Yeah. It was really impressive, and he did, because Lane is a very accomplished dancer, and especially and by the time we were in high school, you were dancing like way better than most of the people that were in high school at that time, I would say. I don't know if do you still keep up with it at all?
Not as much as I used to. Like every couple of years, I'll sign up for a tap dancing class somewhere and get really excited about it, and then injure myself.
Oh, okay. That sounds about right for our age. But yeah, he was a fantastic dancer, and there's a part of it that they did. It was actually the year that Gene Kelly passed away, I think, right?
That's right.
96 was the year that he died, and so we did like kind of a tribute to him at the end, where they brought the screen down and they projected Gene Kelly dancing the famous "Singing in the Rain" dance, and then Lane did it underneath that and like mirrored what he was doing. It was awesome to watch, and we had actual rain on the stage. It was just it was mind blowing in these productions, but it was a really really cool thing. So well done.
Sounds fancier than it was. What they did is they ran garden hoses from the sinks in the dressing rooms, and then they poked holes in the garden hoses.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
they just took like a sledgehammer to the back of the stage and like knocked a hole in it for the water to drain out in the like Tupperware.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and it all drained into the band room into a bunch of Tupperware containers, and then was just dumped out somewhere.
Amongst
Very
the
nice.
percussion.
Yeah, yeah. So that was awesome. But yeah, and so we knew each other all through college, and we've stayed friends, and it's been great. It's great being your friend, man. You're a good person. That's why I've continued to do it. But where do you? So you left Pittsburgh and you went out to Hollywood and did some. So did you do some other screenwriting aside from just the film that will not be mentioned?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I worked as a screenwriter for 15 years and wrote 30 screenplays, 2 of which were made, several of which I'm really proud of and wish were made, and then a bunch of other ones that it's probably best just got left on a shelf somewhere.
And what were the 2 that were made? It was the one that we've already spoken of, and then what else?
And then a movie called Jamesy Boy, which I'm actually much more proud of, which has Ving Rhames, Mary Louise Parker. It was directed by a very talented young director named Trevor White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing it. It was great. It was great. Very good. In fact, I think I own a copy of it somewhere. I can't figure out where it is. I did make you sign my copy of Perkins 14, but Jamesy Boy, I was like, well, that's not, he doesn't need to, that's not nearly as embarrassing. And then, so are you still screenwriting?
No, I left it behind. I sort of figured out that it wasn't making me terribly happy. And me and my wife, Wendy, and at that point, our toddler, moved to Washington, D.C., and I decided to go to law school at Georgetown, which I graduated a couple years ago. And now I am becoming a labor lawyer. I'm going to work for unions and with unions, helping workers come together and get what they deserve.
Wow. All right. Is that making you happier than being a screenwriter?
Immeasurably happier than being a screenwriter. Being a screenwriter was a dream, and the highs were very high. But man, hustling every minute to try to find the next paycheck and sort of making more and more compromises in order to make that happen, it really was making me quite miserable. And this job just turns out to be something that my brain kind of works this way anyway. And I really like the people who I'm working with. And I found a cause that I can work on and actually hopefully make some kind of difference in the world.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations. Well, thank you for making a difference in the world. We appreciate it.
I'm working on it still.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Thank you for in the future doing that. Hey, look,
all right, but if you ever actually make a difference, you got a thank you waiting for you right there.
That's
on the
right.
shelf.
It's sitting right there.
I'll use this Zoom link and log back in and let you know.
There you go. And hey, listen, people will be listening to this podcast for the next 150 years at least, I would think. So probably by that time, you'll be some famous lawyer that did some famous case, and maybe a judge. You'll be a judge someday. Are you shooting for that?
Sounds awful.
Okay, great.
I don't particularly like being neutral and having to sort of decide what's right. I would much rather argue for the people who I want to win.
Got it. Yeah, judges aren't really supposed to do that, I guess. Supposed to. So we'll see how that works out for everybody. Well, this is awesome. But I mentioned before that I keep wondering where we're going, and that's why you're here, man. You're here to tell us where we are going to go. So do you have a destination for us for our walk tonight?
I do. I put some thought into this, and
good.
I decided to give you someplace to go that's sort of based in the new world that I'm in, the labor world.
Okay.
There was a radical labor organization that was founded in 1905 called the Industrial Workers of the World, and they're on Wikipedia under that name. They are also their sort of the link goes to the same place under what they're more commonly known as, which is the Wobblies.
The
The
Wobblies?
Wobblies.
The Wobblies. That's right. At their peak in 1917, they had 150,000 members. This was a major organization that was the first labor organization to include women and minorities, and believed that if you got enough unskilled workers together across industries, you could just overthrow the entire system. The entire
Wow.
deal where you work for wages and that's how you eat. They did not think that was a good idea.
All right. And so, they still exist today?
They do. Their World War One dealt them a blow because they came out against it, and people didn't like that. But they still
Okay.
exist. They recently organized a Voodoo Donuts in Portland, which was a
Oh,
big win for
Nice.
them.
okay.
One
They're
donut
operating
shop at a time.
on a slightly smaller scale these days, but they're still around.
I heard one of the podcasts I listened to on economics was talking about the number of unionization efforts have been happening in recent years has increased dramatically, but they're all on like such small scales. It's like individual Trader Joe's or individual Starbucks stores. So the number of efforts is very high, but the number of employees being impacted is relatively low. But you got to start somewhere.
That's exactly right.
Got it. So now they were the Industrial Workers of the World. Are they an international organization, or are they just here in the U.S.?
They were largely based in the U.S. There were a lot of immigrants amongst their numbers, and they've done some
Right.
international organizing in their history.
Okay.
But their heyday and the sort of focus of what they were doing was mostly in the United States.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And 1905, you say, is when they when they were founded.
That's right, 1905.
Okay. And then 1917, boy, yeah, World War One. That's a shame. They were right at their peak, and then
Yeah.
World War One came around, and they weren't in favor of that. Okay. All right. Interesting. Are there any I would say like famous members of the group or anything like that, or is it more they are known as a group and that's the most famous thing about them?
Yeah, no. You may have heard of a woman named Mother Jones, who she has a magazine named
Yes.
after her now, but she was
Yeah.
this sort of hard scrabble labor organizer who went in the just literal battles with coal miners as this little
Wow.
old lady, and was very good at being famous and very good at getting people to pay attention to her.
Oh,
And
okay.
the union was founded by a man named Big Bill Hayward, who ended up on trial for murder. He was acquitted, but he was a larger than life figure in his day, and is sort of synonymous with the Wobblies.
Wow.
Nice.
So this is I have to say this this is something that must have been years in the making for you, because the reason that I know Mother Jones and that magazine, I was introduced to that in your house in high school, because I think your parents subscribed to it, perhaps, or I mean, there were definitely copies around your house.
My mother's devoted to that magazine. I was
There you
excited
go.
when I made that connection as well. I was like, oh, she was a person.
That's awesome. I love it. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Well, I have never heard of the Wobblies or the Industrial Workers of the World, so my apologies to them, I guess. But it will be interesting to try to get to them from our starting point, which is the four Yorkshiremen sketch. I can't say that right to save my life.
Say it again. Say it one more time.
The four Yorkshireman sketch. I definitely hit it that time. So we got to ask you though, before we let you go, on our Drunkard's Walk is a mathematical term. That's obviously kind of the way we do this, but we also, since it's called Drunkard's Walk, decided that why not have a drink while we go. Are you having anything to drink tonight, Lane?
I am. I've been having a lot of rum lately, so I'm having some dark rum from a local spot here in DC called Cotton and Reed, and it is lovely.
Excellent. And just straight rum. Just drinking it straight, like
just
on ice or anything?
No, just neat. I just
Oh,
poured
neat.
some into a
Wow.
cup.
All
started
right.
drinking it.
That sounds awesome. Jethro, how about
Very nice.
you? You having any rum this evening?
I'm not having any rum, but I
Okay.
am having an old friend, the standard bourbon of the house, Distillers Select Woodford Reserve, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Sorry to be so boring, but I'm monogamous in marriage and in alcoholism. So there you go.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. It's you find something you like, man, and you stick with it. That's what I say.
There you go.
That's an important thing to do.
And you, sir, what are you having?
So yeah, I am also having a drink. I am also having a bourbon. That's going to be no surprise to anybody that's listened to the podcast before. I'm having a new one though. This is one I got as a gift from actually a mutual friend of ours, Ryan Warner, gave me this bottle as part of a whiskey exchange we do around the holidays. It's called Chicken Cock. Yeah, pause for laughter. That is the name of this Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Ryan was very nice. He actually traveled to Ohio to get this for me, and because he knew that I was a fan of Four Roses Single Barrel, and his wife became a fan of this bourbon when they were in Kentucky, and she's a big fan of Four Roses Single Barrel. Anyway, it was so thoughtful of him, and I really appreciate it. So, Ryan, if you're listening, thank you very much for that. And it is quite delightful. I would say that it is just as good as Four Roses Single Barrel. I'm not going to go as far as say better, but I'd say that they are on par with each other. So, cheers, gentlemen.
To Chicken Cock.
Huzzah.
To Chicken Cock, everybody. To Chicken Cock. This is the second bourbon that's shown up on our podcast that has had cock in the name. The other one was, Jethro, do you remember one of our guests was drinking something called like 3 foot cock or something like that, or one foot cock. That's what it was, because it had a picture of a chicken with only one leg on it.
I don't recall that, but
you don't remember
clearly.
That? Dave Rockwell was on here. He was one of our guests. No,
I don't listen. I don't listen to the show.
Oh, okay. It's probably better.
But clearly, we need to balance it out by having some pussy themed bourbons. That's
the same joke that you made when we had Dave on. Yeah.
All right. You know what?
Well done.
I only have so many jokes. So
you find something you like and you stick with it. That's what I say.
Exactly. So, exactly.
Well, Lane, thank you very much for this topic suggestion of the Wobblies, the industrial workers of the world. The page is the industrial workers of the world, right? So if we're looking.
Yes, but if you find a link to Wobblies, it sort of links to it.
It'll take you there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for coming on. And it's great seeing you again, man. We'll have to talk soon.
It's good talking, guys. Best of luck on your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Take care.
Good night.
All right, Jethro. So off on another voyage here from the Four Yorkshiremen sketch to the industrial workers of the world. But before we do, we do need to write in a little guess as far as how many links it's going to take us to get there. I see in our spreadsheet you've put in that you will probably win.
Yes,
and I think that that's fair. So I'm not going to change. I'm not going to take that out of there.
Good,
because I think well done.
Yeah,
but you're good at making stuff happen. So I think you'll find a way. But I'm going to put down a guess. You got a guess?
Oh, I've got a guess. I'm all raring to go here.
All right. You wrote down a brand new guess. You're not just like picking up pieces of paper once we know how many links it is, right? You're not.
No, right. I'm not doing that.
Okay. You sure?
I mean, you're right to suspect that I'm not above cheating.
Shit. See, I knew it. I knew it.
But no, I value. I only cheat when it matters, and let's face it, winning
doesn't matter to you.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. I'm writing down mine. I've now changed mine twice. So I'm sticking with what I got now. So here we go. Let's get rolling, man. We're here starting off with a comedy sketch.
Indeed. And again, I know we talked about this in the last episode, but it is just such a beautifully clear game in this scene, and it is executed so gorgeously.
Yep.
And with absolutely no fluff or anything.
Agreed.
I just love the sketch. And if I taught sketch comedy, I would include this in the curriculum because it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of links to named individual. Now, they do have a link to Monty Python Live at the Hollywood Bowl, which is where I first saw this sketch. And I will say that they have a sketch in that show in which I think it's World Forum or whatever, in which they have an interview show in which Mao Zedong, Karl Marx, and Lenin are all guests in that sketch. So Monty Python Live at the Hollywood Bowl, strong early contender for a way to get us to organized labor.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna trump that, because further down in here, it has links to communist and proletarian.
Holy moly. Wow.
And I'm going to say that those might be better paths into what we're trying to get through here.
Oh, completely. And in the context of these links is that in the mid 1990s, the Hungarian comedy group Holo Színház, which I'm certainly mispronouncing, translated and performed an adapted version of the sketch, substituting 4 millionaires for the Yorkshiremen. The sketch had particular resonance for older Hungarians because from the immediate post-war period to the 1950s, exaggerating the level of your family's poverty and proletarian origins was a common practice to gain favor with communist authorities.
So there you go. Wow. Now, I will say that communist takes you to the Hungarian Working People's Party. That's the page that it takes you to. So it doesn't take you to communism or communists in general. It takes you to a very specific group. Proletarian takes you to proletariat. So, I think anyway, that's what it seems to be taking you to. So also the aristocrats is on here, which if none of these other things were on here, I might argue to go through the aristocrats simply to find a way, you know what I mean? Like a kind of path out of, and things around there. But I think that one of these two is going to be the way to go.
Oh, I completely agree. Although, if you have not seen the Paul Provenza film titled "The Aristocrats,"
yeah, sure, yeah,
it's a gem, and I highly recommend it. Also, content warning: it's not for kids.
No, it is not.
Not at all.
It absolutely is not.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The link to the Hungarian Working People's Party is interesting because it takes it to an actual union.
Right.
But because of the newly enforced podcast rules about the see also section, or not the see also, but the external links section.
Newly enforced. It's over a year. It's over a season old. So I don't know what you're.
Okay. First of all, don't equate year and season, because
I corrected myself.
Yes. But yeah, I think that any linkage to a broader labor movement in the specific page for a particular Hungarian union is chancy at best. So I like proletarian because that's at least going to get us into people like Mother Jones and or labor unions without having to go to the external links, which we can't do. Yeah, so I like proletarian between the two. What are your thoughts?
Well, I tend to agree on your choice, not necessarily for the same reason. I think maybe it's possible that you're going to find links within the main article to the types of things that we're looking for if going through the Hungarian Working People's Party. But my concern is that that's going to be a much smaller page with many fewer links than proletarian will. Now, I could be totally wrong about that because I haven't been to either of the pages, but it's my gut feeling on it. So
I like your gut. I think your gut, a rare instance in which I think your gut is making the right choice.
So it seems strange. So proletarian is what we should go to?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So proletariat, as I said, is the page that actually takes us to. Not a super long page.
Although for those of you, for you capitalists who are listening and the bourgeoisie listening, the proletariat is the social class of wage earners whose members of a society whose only possession of significant economic value is their labor power, their capacity to work.
Yeah, that's right. And so from this, we see links into Marxist philosophy, capitalism, exploited means of production, and the bourgeoisie. and the rabble. That's the music makes them. Anyway,
the owners of your company do not wish for you to read this Wikipedia page.
That's right. That's right. They do not. I see takeover power, which actually takes you to dictatorship of the proletariat. So we definitely don't want to go through there. I do see a link that is common economic and political interests. And when you mouse over it, it says the political slogan "Workers of the World Unite" is one of the rallying cries of the Communist Manifesto. So I don't know what the page might be to a. Could there be a page called "Workers of the World Unite"?
Certainly. I mean, that is a common phrase. It could be about the slogan,
right,
which could be rather meager.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if that's going to get us to if it's going to be a better route to get to what we want than if we were to look a little bit further down and see if there's like links to unions and stuff.
Yeah, I see labor economics or labor economics spelled with a U and not spelled with a U. So that might be a thing. Working class is on here.
Working class culture. That's certainly on there. There's also a C also here.
Blue collar workers under there. Yeah.
Laborer. Yeah. Unskilled or a skilled worker. Wage slavery. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things here. Although to your point, it is not a huge page. Interesting.
It's not.
There is a link to the precariat, which is the social class formed by people suffering from precarity. Yeah. Which means existing without predictability or security affecting material or psychological wealth. Wow.
So I see a link here to wage slavery. And
do you know?
I wonder if that may be a path to go through, simply because he was explaining that was very much what they were against. And Indeed. That is the reason they existed. And I wonder if perhaps a page about wage slavery would in fact have a link to this group. What do you think about that? Or would wage slavery at least get us into unions?
I don't know.
Hold on.
It's surprising that unions don't have a link on here.
Well, trade unions actually does have a link. Trade union or labor union is linked up at the very top. There's a little box called part of the series on organized labor. Yep. And we've got labor movement, which actually might not be a bad thing. And then labor rights, and then trade unions in the strike action and labor parties.
Interesting.
I wonder if labor movement might be better than trade unions. Probably not. Now, trade unions probably it, right?
Let me ask you a rules-based question.
Okay.
So when the window spawns in my chosen internet browser, which I'm not going to advertise because, the big tech companies don't need the PR. There is a show link for that sidebar box.
Yes.
So under trade unions, I could click show, and it would pop up with some more information here, some more links that are clickable.
Yes.
And I wanted to know your thoughts vis-a-vis the rules of the podcast, if that counted as a click or if that is a legal action that we can then do.
Oh, are you saying the clicking the show button would count as a link? I don't think so. No.
Is it permissible? Yada yada.
Yeah. Now, are these links in this box permissible? I mean, that's a question we can debate sometime. They're totally permissible. Well,
totally.
I don't know. I mean, they kind of represent the same thing as the stuff at the bottom, but we're not going to get into that right now. I don't think that clicking the show button counts as a link. No.
Good. I agree.
Okay.
I agree completely. But when you expand all of those sections, there's a lot of interesting. There's social movement unionism. There's socialism, democratic socialism, child labor, unfree labor, equal pay, a whole lot of.
There are actually under trade unions. There's a trade unions by country page.
Indeed.
Would this be considered a trade union? The Industrial Workers of the World? Do you think?
I mean, possibly.
But there's got to be so many of those. Could the page actually contain all of them? I feel like the page is going to be broken up into other pages, right? So it might be better to go through something like the trade union main page, which may have a link directly to it, versus if we go into a list, we might have to go to another page to actually get to the thing we need.
I mean,
That makes sense what I'm saying here?
I hear you. I hear you. It's certainly a possibility.
Oh,
Either way. What?
How about
What?
labor history
Labor history. Interesting.
under academic disciplines? That's
Okay.
a possibility, huh? What do you think of that?
I mean, I guess we should have asked when Lane was still on the call, but in terms of the history of union organization,
Mm-hmm.
how significant was this group? Because I know they were founded right before World War One, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot because
they were founded in 1905, so they were at their peak in 1917, and they had I forget the number he said, but I mean it was a lot of members. I mean it's going to be pretty significant, I would think.
Yeah, but 12 years before they injured themselves by not supporting war, which of course is incorrect.
Oh, I see. Okay, are you talking to the robots again?
Yeah, well, I'm talking to our advertisers. By the way, Lockheed Martin would like you to know.
Okay.
War ain't so bad. Yeah.
The Colt Company. So what are you thinking then? I mean, because there's a lot of really good possibilities over here. It's just a matter of picking the one that we think is going to be the best. And I'm going to rule out quiet quitting. Because I think that that's a stupid term anyway, and I don't know why it's on here, but it's under strike action. Quiet quitting is under strike action. All right, whatever. The way it's being used now is not what that is. So,
yeah,
what do you think?
I mean,
what do you think, man?
I don't know. I think trade unions by country is a really good possibility, but if it's just a list, that's not as exciting. I know you're not a fan of the list. You don't like. You don't even like Schindler's List.
That's not true. Didn't say that at all.
Oh, that's right. You like it because it's got Nazis in it. So that's
not. No. Hold on. You're the Nazi sympathizer here, not me. Don't get on me about that.
I don't.
I think something about like exploitation or the wage. What was it? Wage slavery or going into the history or trade unions? I think is the way to go. I think not the list of trade unions, but just like the page for trade unions. Those would be my votes. Might have like 4 different votes, but those are them. Those are them.
That's a lot of votes.
Those are them votes. You like them votes?
Wow, heavy Pittsburgh accent work there.
That's right. Ian's guys talking about unions. All right, let's go.
Yeah. You know, I am. There's so many intriguing options here that
I know.
Hard to pick one.
It is, but we have to. So let's do it. What are we picking? Oh, that sound is not nice.
I am going to have to go.
Folks, that went on for 6.5 minutes. You're lucky that I cut out.
It did. I mean, I probably want to go with socialism.
What? No way.
Why not?
That's way too broad. That's way too broad.
Why is that way too broad?
Way too broad. You are the one who loves specificity. That is way too broad. No, forget it. You wrote down a number that's high. It's fine, but no, we're not going into the socialism. Forget it.
Why not?
Put my foot down. Not socialism. Because we have unions on this page. We're either going into unions or we're going into something that unions address, like wage slavery. We are not going into socialism. So I'll I'm sorry. I'm putting my foot down. My foot is on the ground.
You know who you sound like?
Who's that?
Ronald Reagan.
Oh, okay.
We're not going through socialism. All right.
Definitely not what I meant by that.
No,
but yeah, sure.
I hear
sure.
you. No, I feel okay. You want the capitalists to win. I get it.
Good.
I get it.
Good. I'm glad you get it.
All right. So what are your top 2 or 3?
My top, I'll give you my top 3. That's a good idea. I'll give you my top 3. How about, I like labor, history, wage slavery, or trade unions. There you go. Those are my top 3. There are others on here that I would be okay with, but those are my top three.
Okay, so labor history,
Yep.
trade unions.
Yeah. Labor history is not my top one. Let's be clear about that. I did not put those in order because I think labor history now I'm like worried that it's like it might be too broad too. So trade unions is probably my favorite. And then wage slavery, and then labor history if we have to.
Okay.
What do you like?
Well, I mean, I like trade unions. I'm leaning towards trade unions, but I'm not 100% there.
Oh my goodness. Let's just do it.
Come
Let's just
on.
go.
What?
Let's go to trade unions. Come on, pull the trigger,
Oh,
man.
wow, you're very bullying. All right,
Well,
fine. Let's go to trade unions.
Trade union.
Where's the link again?
It's right up at the top. It's right under trade unions. It's right there in the little box.
All right, here we go. Here we are. Trade unions.
Yes, a much longer page, I will say.
Or trade union, as it's sometimes known. Okay.
Trade union, well, British English, labor union, American English. So that's the difference. In case you were wondering, trade versus was it labor? Yeah, okay. Oh boy. So what do we got here? We got all kinds of stuff here. In case you weren't aware, often simply referred to as a union, it's an organization of workers intent on, quote, maintaining or improving the conditions of their employment. So there you go. That's all it is. Who would be against that? Who would be against that?
The owners of companies. That's who.
Look at that. The Freemasons are on here. The Odd Fellows, friendly societies and fraternal organizations. This is amazing. Yeah. It's a lot of great trade guilds are on here.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting that the knowledge workers of the Middle Ages were like the trade unions, and they would create all of these rules to prevent their sacred knowledge from getting out, and that's where like the Masons and whatnot. But because it was organized by the people who actually did the work, it wasn't a top-down power thing, unlike where capital comes in.
Right.
But it also introduces inefficiency, which is undesirable. So,
how do you figure that?
Well, I mean, people want to work as little as possible for as much return as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, I see what you're saying.
I mean, in order for complex organizations to work, it has to work for the capital, it has to work for the labor, it has to work for the customers, and hopefully for the society in which it is enmeshed. And it's always a tug of war between those four groups. And sometimes capital can go too far, as in the current state of America, I would say, is arguably too favorable to capital. But there are other instances in which it's too far to the needs of labor, in which case, fewer goods get produced at too high a price, which hurts customers and society and is not good for capital. So there's always a need for a balance between those warring forces.
This is just wow. I'm just wrapped in. I can't.
You're welcome.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
You know what? You oddly enough, you have to sign up as a Patreon subscriber.
Oh gosh, and I don't have. I can't. I don't have the. I don't have the $3 a month that would need to be contributed.
What a shame.
All right. Are you seeing anything on here? Because I'm looking through and I'm not seeing this particular. There's a lot of unions talked about on this page.
Are there now?
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of different unions. The AFL is on here. The Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions. The Free Association of German Trade Unions. I mean, there are unions aplenty on this page. I don't see the Wobblies. The Wobblies, did I have that right? The Wobblies?
That is correct.
Or the what were they called? The Industrial Workers of the World. I don't see them on here. Am I missing
What a pity. What a pity. Well, I can virtually guarantee you exactly where they are.
Oh, and where is that?
That's going to be in the external links section. And just to prove my point, I'll go down. Yeah. Oh, there's a trade unions by region and a trade unions in the Americas. And if you click show on that, then there is a link to the United States and Canada, but it doesn't actually link to the particular. God Lord, there's a lot of embedded external links here,
but not to that.
Not specifically to that. No.
Interesting. So now I'm starting to think that they are not as well known or as as well respected as we once thought. Good thing we didn't go to labor history, because they certainly wouldn't have been in there. I don't see them. So the question now is, do we go into list of trade unions? Because that is also still linked on this page, which I guess we could have gone to before, but we didn't want to go to a list. Or do we go through something else? I mean, there's a lot of labor stuff discussed on here. What is the best path for us to take, do you suppose?
I don't know, but I guess the question for me is like, the problem is there's so many options, and given my own incredibly meager to the point of non-existent knowledge of the history of trade unionism in this country, I couldn't tell you a good link from a bad link.
Is there something?
Which is why I'm inclined to trade unions by country as a
trade unions by country. I didn't see that. Are you talking about the list of trade unions?
Yeah. So we're on the trade union page. It's also got that part of a series on organized labor. So if you under the trade unions, it's got trade unions by country. So that's.
Oh, I see. Trade unions by country. I see. Yeah. Okay. That's the same. At the bottom, there's a link to just list of trade unions or something like that. So it's the same deal.
Is it now?
Is there a possibility of going through another union that came out around the same time? Because I do see that there are dates on here, although I don't see anything in the early. These are all like late 1800s, and then the dates go away and just jump to the current times. Like they don't get into the 1900s for some reason.
Well, it's a vexing problem for sure. I have seen a similar. I'm looking at the same page you are. So
yeah.
I mean,
the World Federation of Trade Unions was created in 1945. So I guess they're still around. So that could be helpful to us. But I think that I'm agreeing with you now. Unfortunately, I think that list is still boring, but I don't know for sure what the best other way out of here would be.
I mean, this could be a whole postmodern jukebox situation.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like lists of trade unions. I feel like it's, if Mother Jones was involved, it's likely well known enough that it would be on that. That would be my way to go.
All right. I'm surprised that Mother Jones isn't mentioned on this page, to be quite frank. I thought that she might be, but Taft-Hartley.
The labor movement is vast.
It is. It's very vast. Milton Friedman is on here. You're going to put Milton Friedman. Ronald Reagan, your hero Ronald Reagan is on here. You had to bring him up. So
yeah.
All right. So list of trade unions, or list by country, I believe is what it was called, right?
Yeah, it's at the bottom as list of trade unions.
List of trade unions. All right. Well, let's go. Yeah. Let's go to the list of trade unions.
And Matt, would you like to know what the very first union mentioned on that page is?
I would love to know that. Yeah. What is it?
It's the Industrial Workers of the World.
Look
the
at
IWW members of which are commonly termed wobblies.
Listed right under global. It is the very first one. And I will say, I said we might have to go to multiple pages. Nope. This is a super long page that has every union listed on it right on the page. Wow.
Fantastic.
So Industrial Workers of the World, we could have saved ourselves a link. So my apologies to everyone for that. I just really didn't. I thought it would be boring, but it wasn't boring at all because we didn't have to spend any time there.
Exactly. It's very exciting.
Industrial Workers of the World. We have done it.
We have.
And indeed, the Wobblies, International Labor Union, founded in Chicago in 1905, just as we were told. So it's all true. It's all true.
Bravo.
All right. Well, we won't look too much at this page, which also is quite extensive. But instead, let's talk a little bit about how our predictions went. So, did you make a prediction, Jethro? You did.
I did.
You said
I did make a prediction.
What did you predict?
I'm turning my camera back on so that I can show you
I appreciate that.
what I
Thank
wrote.
you.
What I wrote down, and I wrote down 4.
Well, thankfully, on the third time I changed my mind, I also wrote down 4.
Look
So
at
we
you.
both hit it right on the head. I mean, I had 5 and changed it. Thankfully, I changed it. So you know what that means, Jethro?
What does that mean?
That means we've got a runoff here, man.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's been a
All right,
while,
then.
but we
It
have
has
to try to
been
get back to the same page from 4 Yorkshiremen. Now we cannot use that same. Like we know that we can get there in 3 now, right? Because we could have skipped that one page. That is off limits. We may not do that particular thing. So we have to find, and if you recall, we cannot both use the same link out of any particular page.
Yeah.
And
I already know what my link out is, so we're good.
Okay. Well, we haven't even started yet, but
okay, but I know what it is.
Okay, I know what mine is too. So let's say what they are right now, and then
communist.
Yeah, mine too. So now neither of us can use that. So
no, you just
no. That's always been the case.
It's never been. You're just making up rules.
Of course it has. Of course it has.
It's ridiculous.
So what would have been? So what? How should we resolve this instead?
I've got my next link. It's Monty
so
Python live at the Hollywood Bowl.
Okay, well I'm going to go through Amnesty International.
All right, you do that. All right, so here we go. We each have a link here.
We do. So now we got to find something out of there, and I forget what we put a time limit once one person found their way out, and I can't remember what it was. So we'll have to figure that out.
Yep, I've got my link.
You do.
I do.
Shit. Okay. So do I.
All right, my link is for Karl Marx.
Okay, my link is to communist.
There we go.
All right, let's go.
Fantastic.
Indeed. Which took me to Second World. Not
Second World, is it?
Yeah, not communism. Took me to Second World.
Oh boy.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, nope, that's not it. That's not a good thing to do. Okay, all right, I have mine.
Do you now? What is yours?
Well, do you have yours?
I have a lot of options, but I asked you what yours was first,
well, no,
so you have to answer.
No, I do not. I don't have to tell you mine until we're ready to go.
Well, that
all right, socialism. It's socialism.
Okay, fine. In that case, I also have a link.
Okay. What is it?
I'm very excited to share it with you. And
okay, go ahead and tell me now.
This is
a limited amount of time.
I feel like you're rushing me.
You do have a limited amount of time. I am rushing you. I'm rushing you. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did. Well done. Bravo.
All right, you have to make a call. You've got 10 more seconds. I'll give you 10 more seconds.
All right, I appreciate that.
5. And you have to make a call. What's it going to be?
All right. So I am going to click on the International Working Men's Association.
All right. So let's go from there.
All right. There it is.
Oh, God. This is going to be terrible. All right. I am in socialism, going all through the different things that are here in the socialist world. And it is, I will say, quite a large page as well. Oh shit!
I've got mine.
Of course you do. See, I'm trying to entertain the troops, and you're just looking. So
okay. I know. Now the shoe's on the other foot. I see how
the shoe is on the other foot. If you had been talking the whole time, I would have let you go too.
10 seconds, sir.
I have 10 seconds. Wait a minute. No, I gave you longer than that.
The Hartman rule. No,
I gave you 10 seconds after you've been there for a long time looking around.
I don't know what you're talking about. You've got 10 seconds.
Delayed.
You've got. Don't quibble about my delaying. That's its own delay tactic.
It is. Okay, I'm ready.
All right,
I'm going to trade union.
Aha! I'm also going to trade union.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, no, we can't. Neither of us can use that now. All right, we have to pick something different. Shit.
What? Why can't we use?
We just
keep making
established
up
that.
our own.
Because if we both go the same place, then it doesn't make any sense. We have to go different paths.
All
All right, you got to find something else.
I found something else.
You did.
I did.
All right. What's yours?
Working class.
All right, mine is workers' control.
There you go.
All right, so here we go. Oh God. This is weird. I can't believe this. Oh no,
awful.
This is bad. Oh, mine is not a good. Oof, I am in a bad place.
Are you now?
Oh, okay, I have mine.
Do you now?
Yes.
Good for you. All right, I've got mine too.
Okay, I'm going to industrial workers of the world.
Ah, damn you! I'm going to false consciousness. All right, you win.
Jeekle, Ramatama.
Ramatama, indeed.
That's right, baby. Oh yeah. Not only did I get to take out this probably Jethro bullshit
I already took it out
in here, but also
I took it out.
That's like one of the first races I've ever won for one of these. I won that race, the other thing, and I'm just having a great day over here. It's the chicken cock, Ryan Warner. Thank you, buddy. That's an anti postmodern jukebox right there, buddy. That's what that is.
Well, I'm very happy for you. Congratulations. And I hope you're thrilled with your victory.
I am thrilled with my victory. I'm thrilled. You know what? I'm not even going to sleep tonight. I'm partying all night long.
Wow.
All night.
I'm sure your wife, all daughter, and cats will be thrilled.
I'm sure they already are. Oh, Jethro, this has been a blast and a half for me because I won. But also, what a good time finding a union to walk over to, going from some comedy to some unions. What do you think? Comedy union? You want to get it going?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that would be very successful. If anybody cooperates, it's comedians and
Absolutely.
improvisers. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be very successful. Yeah.
All right. Well, how about you and me? Let's start our own union and rise up against the powers that be.
There you go. I won't take any work that you don't also get.
Awesome.
How about that?
I love it. I love it, man. Well, this has been great. And folks, I guess we will see you again next week for another Drunkard's Walk.
Yay.